Now, I can't quite believe this, but it's episode 5. But the writing journey hopefully has got you gripped now, because today we're going to talk about engagement tricks. That's $1 million question, isn't it? How do I keep my reader engaged? Well, ask yourself, is the original premise interesting? Does it have sympathetic characters? People will be loved or liked, or even others identify with. Is that plot idea truly different and original? Are you giving me enough information from the outset so I'm not confused? Are you going to let me see an interesting pattern emerge, and one that I like? I've already talked about different genres, and they have familiar themes and characters, don't they? And you've got your favourite genres and books and films. But are your characters new and engaging? Are they rehashed characters and plots we've seen before? That's a no-no. See, in my book Circular Motion, the one I'm using as an example, I know it's intriguing, and I know my characters are all likeable, lovable, not all of them. But it's difficult to describe a book genre, I suppose, because at its heart, this one is a humorous crime thriller with a series of twists, and that's important to me. I want to make people laugh, make them happy. But with you, I want you to keep people guessing what's happening. And I do the same, because I want to keep the writing tight. Don't go into great long passages, dense and complicated. Imagine being the reader. Are you getting enough clues, potential new storylines to keep you wanting more? Are you confused? Don't give too much away, and don't make me wade through tons of stuff. Reader engagement, add that to your notes. Got to be top of the list. Each paragraph, each line, is it interesting? Is it intriguing? Is it original? I keep saying that. Is it moving forward with pace? Now, humour. I cannot overstress this. You need lightness. Even the darkest novel needs some shade. If you make a person laugh out loud, and I do it all the time if I can, no matter what genre I'm in, I know it could be a nervous or a grim laugh, but then I'm happy. Humour is a very effective weapon for a writer. It punctures pomposity and over-seriousness, often at the right time. Now look, if the book's a humorous, funny book, it goes without saying, but it doesn't matter. Introduce the odd funny line, it humanises things. That's what people are like. We make jokes in the darkest times. If you study and understand how humans work, even fantasy humans, think of your own life. With your friends and your family and your colleagues, you use humour often at the darkest of times. Like I said, it's there. In Circular Motion, there's tons of it, even amongst the dark moments. Lightness in shade, I call it. Setting up things. Go back to that synopsis and your map book, because it's time to consider the setups you're going to use to tell the story. Examine them closely. Are your setups believable or realistic, even in fantasy genres? Would a character behave in such a way? I mean, would they be so daft? I mean, what's their motivation? Do you believe them? I mean, my setups, they have to pass my do I believe it test. Would a real person or a fantasy person, would they behave like that in that situation? Look, I know humans make bizarre decisions all the time. God knows I do. And it seems to sit at odds with logic or normality. But again, in my book, I've got a setup in a casino, which on the face of it is a very silly place for any of us to go. Remember, 99% of us are going to lose all our money. But people somehow don't believe it. They think they're going to win. Because the facts, however, we know casinos, they win every time. No one ever beats them, not really. So your setup can have people overestimating their abilities or plans. But you, the reader, believe them. So you're intrigued to see how they'll fare, how they'll get on. Get that setup right. Once again, I'm engaged then, and hopefully I'm hooked. So think about that for this part of the writing journey. As we move forward, I'm going to cover things like editing and refining your work. And later I'll be looking at the different writing formats, from short stories, my favourite, novellas, my favourite, to screenplays in the next series of videos. But just to recap, we've started this writing journey, the beginner's journey. We've got some guidelines that keep us on track. We're considering our main list of things that make up a strong story and structure. We started with that bullet point story and the plot list. And then once we get going, the map book. We're going to pace ourselves. When I talk about specialist writing formats, I'm kind of examining, aren't I, the various writing disciplines that you might want to do. So I'm going to start with, of course, my favourite writing format because of the story hive, and that's the short story. Now, I should start, but, well, I'll say this now. An A4 page, 4 pages, short story that you can hear on the story hive or read, that for me is such a joy. It's my favourite length. I know it's a bit lazy because it's not very long, but I don't get hung up on it. I can write longer stories, I write novels, obviously, but never be bound by the length of something. Write it to where you think it should go. The story will guide you for how long it needs to exist, whether it's a short story, a novella, or a book. Now, as I said, I love my little kind of A4 4 pages because they actually make you condense your imagination and they squish your writing style because you don't have much time. And given that limited amount of lines, every word and sentence counts. You don't get hyperbole and verbal and blah, 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 blah. You can't go off at tangents and waffle. Now, another argument in support of my A4 4 pages is an undeniable fact, and I'm sorry to say this, that people's attention spans aren't what they used to be. Short story writers, we can entertain you quickly. We're like burglars of the imagination. We're in, we're out. And we can leave a reader or a listener going, wow, that was amazing, I want another. Now, if we can drag people into reading our short stories, we can later probably take them to our novellas and eventually our novels. I know loads of people love to read all lengths, but it doesn't hurt, does it? Not to grab and entertain me quickly with a short story. Now, on the Story Hive, please listen, completely free. In the love story section, there's a Story Hive story called The Giant. Now, the reason I mention it is I was really happy that I'd covered a story going across a young boy's entire life from manhood, boyhood to manhood, in 4 pages. It can be done. You try and write one like it. Describe a family. Take a major moment from their lives, a moment where they all come together somehow. Keep your sentences short, it's a short story. Find maybe 5 sentences to sum up each family member. Then add colour, keep the main narrative moving, and of course, that crucial end point of my story. Follow the life of a boy of a bookshop in Edinburgh. That's what I did. And how it affected him, and the story should move us. Now, I carefully detailed it. I used broad brushstrokes, little minutiae details, but there was a clear pathway and a timeline sparsely told. You see, like any good story, it should go through your reader's heart. And it should touch you and them. Now, there's lots of other things I'll talk about, but for now, I'm going to let you go to get on with your writing. So, happy writing.